Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Col KK Mishra, and today we are going to talk about something on how to how to face the interview during SSB. I am sure SSB is one of the very important ingredients to join the armed forces. And in armed forces, the four major pillars which you have to tackle is firstly screening. Once you get screened in, then the second pillar which you have to tackle is your psychological test. Once you are through with it, then it's the GTO test, and then in between you appear for the interview. Interview is the only event in which you are one-to-one with the interviewing officer. Otherwise, at every place, you are tested and seen with a group. But during interview, you and the interviewing officer are alone. So that is one place where you are seen individually. So all your qualities are seen by him as an individual. So that is the yardstick and that is the bottom line. And if you can handle this, then probably you are through with the interview. So that is what I thought we'll take on. That is the takeoff point for the interview. So now let's talk one by one. The first thing of interview is the PIQ, Personal Information Questionnaire. This you are expected to fill at the time of documentation before you come in for screening test. So while filling the Personal Information Questionnaire PIQ form, you need to be very, very careful because your interview is going to flow out of this PIQ. So whatever you fill in your PIQ, that becomes the basic data based on which the interviewing officer is going to take off and ask you questions. So the key point in this is that be truthful. Write only those things which are relevant and which you can answer properly. Interviewing officer has got the ways and means to find out the truth and take out the exact activities what you have done. So PIQ, if you write something and if you are not if you are not able to answer what you have written, is likely to go against you. So be very careful in writing whatever. So when you fill in PIQ, fill in all the columns. Secondly, use a very good pen in writing it. Slightly bold, so that the person who is reading it does not have to strain his eyes or something, or he doesn't have to struggle to read what you have written. Be legible. Write it in a good handwriting. Sometimes the handwriting is not good in some cases. So since you know that you have to fill in the PIQ form, practice it. Another technique is that to fill the complete columns in capital. Otherwise, if you are not filling in capital, so there will be certain relevant columns which you are expected to fill in capital. So others can be in running hand, but the columns which are expected, which they write that fill in capitals, so kindly fill that in capital letters. So that is how a PIQ form is supposed to be filled. And in the end, probably there will be a place to sign a signature or something, so kindly sign it there. So this is how a PIQ form is required to be filled by you. Be rest assured that all questions what the interviewing officer is going to ask you will flow out from PIQ form only. So be very careful, be very truthful, and be very confident that what you are filling in. Once the PIQ form has been filled in, then comes the next stage of your interview is the personal get-up. So we'll talk about this personal getup starting from your head up to your toe. Firstly, your head. Take a good haircut. The modern hairstyle what people now adopt in the civil street may not work inside. Since you are facing an interview to become an officer in the armed forces, so you are supposed to be attired and dressed up like an officer. So take a good haircut. Take a good shave on the day you are going to appear for the interview. You can keep a mustache, a reasonably good mustache. If you are clean shaven, nothing wrong in it. That's your personal choice. A good light colored shirt is a good option, and along with it a dark colored trouser. I leave it to your judgment. A light colored shirt could be white, could be light green, could be light pink, whatever. A plain light colored shirt and a dark colored trouser is a good option to wear during interview. It could be if you are putting on a belt, let it be a decent brown belt, black belt, to look you more elegant. And then thereafter, in the end, let it be a good, well polished black shoe, olive brown shoe, dark tan. The overall getup of you during interview should reflect of an officer. Since you are going to face the interview to become an officer in the armed forces, so you might as well look like one, dress up like one. This will put in a positive impact on the interviewing officer, and the moment you enter into the hall, it will radiate that confidence of yours in the gentleman who is going to take your interview. So the next issue and the next stage of interview which you need to tackle is the conduct part of it. So in the conduct part of it, what is going to matter is your body language. And this body language is one thing which speaks more than what you otherwise speak with your language. So we will not tackle this right from the beginning, like when you are waiting in the waiting hall. Though nobody is watching you in the waiting hall, nobody is there to say how you are sitting, what you are doing, but your correct posture, your correct aura will give that sense of confidence in you and that positivity of all your friends who are sitting behind, that yes, this gentleman is well dressed, he has got a good language, and their positivity will definitely assist you in clearing the interview. So the next thing is that when you enter the room, the moment you enter, there may be somebody to open the door or there may not be somebody to open the door. You push the door and go inside, stand close to the door and seek permission from the gentleman who is going to take the interview. Once he has allowed you to come inside, go and stand behind the chair which is meant for you to sit. Don't sit immediately, wait for a couple of seconds. He will say, "Sit down, gentlemen." If he does not, then you yourself can seek permission from him. "May I sit, sir?" I am sure he may be busy at that time writing something or preparing something for you. And if he has forgotten to tell you sit down, then you seek permission and then sit down. While sitting, be confident. Don't cross your hand above your chest. This gives a sign of defensive posture, defensive attitude. Sit comfortably, both your hands on your thighs, and both hands can be overlapping on each other. Hands into the pocket again shows anxiety, again shows nervousness. So kindly avoid putting your hand inside your pocket. Your eye contact with the interviewing officer. maintain an eye contact with the interviewing officer. Your eye contact radiates that confidence in you, and your eye contact with him will definitely give a very, very positive signal that this gentleman is well prepared, he is thorough, he is knowledgeable, he is confident, and your positive impact on him is likely to give you some good dividends at the end of the interview. While sitting on the chair, do not stoop, do not move, shake your legs, do not move your legs, keep your legs dangling. Your legs firm on the ground, on the floor, will give a sense of confidence. Shaking of leg is again a sign of nervousness. So kindly put it firmly on the floor and be confident of yourself. Eye contact, I told you. While the interview is on, be confident. Do not unnecessarily move your hand, unnecessarily move your leg, your head. Just be normal. Be normal while talking to him and maintain a eye contact with the gentleman. This is the technique which will assist you in generating a sense of confidence about you in the eyes of the gentleman who is taking interview. So kindly do that. The next is questionnaires. All this while I was talking about was on your personal get-up, the body language and the setting. We have now I will be talking about the interview part of it as such. What are the likely questions and how he will frame the questions and what he will ask the question. So like in the beginning I said, your question will flow out of your PIQ. So whatever you have filled into your PIQ form is the basic document based on which your questions will be framed and your question will flow out. So now you technically know that what you have filled in there, and from that PIQ what he is going to ask about. So initial few questions, maybe about a minute or two, he will be asking something very, very mundane to keep you at ease, because whenever we go in for any type of interview, a certain amount of nervousness is okay with it. That's very, very natural. It happens to everybody. It is happening to you. It will happen to everyone at whatever stage of life the gentleman is. Whenever he goes in for the interview, there will be a certain amount of nervousness in the beginning. The voice will not be clear. The tone at which he will speak will be almost slightly choked. It will be so to put you at ease, he will ask something very, very mundane, very, very normal and very, very easy questions. It could be, okay, what's your name, chest number so and so, what's your name? You might say, my name is so and so. Then thereafter, what's your father's name, what does he do, where do you come from, and things of that nature. These questions are basically to put you at ease, so that you are relaxed, your throat which was choked gets clear, and you are at home with him to take on that interview. Thereafter, once he has put you on ease and once he has understood that you can now take on the question, then your interview process will commence. So the first question normally will be on your academic qualification. Here people normally say what is that rapid fire round and what not. So that's okay. As long as you know that all questions are going to flow out from the PIQ. So whether that is rapid fire round or that is slow fire round, how does it matter? So in the academics, he might say that, okay, chest number so and so, let me know about your schooling, which school, how many schools you have attended, in which school did you do your 10th board. Thereafter, how was what were the subjects you had taken in your 12th? Which school did you attend your 12th? What percent did you get in your 10th board? What percent did you get in your 12th? the stream what you selected in your 12th, what was the basis of it, who was your favorite teacher in the 10th, who was your favorite teacher in your 12th, and things of that nature. So there will be a volley of 10 to 15 questions based on your schooling and in your college. Which college did you attend? What was your stream in the college? Which the college was affiliated to which university? So when you know that the questions are going to flow out of your PIQ, you are mentally prepared. It may be in a series of questions varying from about 10 to 15, and then you are expected to answer all those questions. Attempt all the question, answer all the question. It may be in the same sequence, it may not be in the same sequence. Sequence is not so important. Tackling, answering all the questions is important. So that rapid fire round, which is commonly known as now, is these questions which have flown out from your PIQ, and you are expected to answer all of them. Sequence is not very important. If you can tackle them in the sequence he has asked you, nothing like it. But if you have not been able to tackle it in the same sequence, no harm done. So rest assured, it's okay if it was not into the sequence, but as long as you have answered all the questions, that's what is required, and that is what is desired by the interviewing officer at your level. So kindly do that. Once you are through with your educational questions, then there will be few questions on your family background, in which your father, your mother, your siblings, elder sibling, younger sibling, brother, sister, your relation with them, your relation with your relatives, your relation with your neighbors. So all these things he will be asking you, and all the questions are relevant. From these questions, he is drawing certain data from you, and he is making up his mind. So whatever you are answering at that time, like I said in the beginning, be very, very truthful. He is an expert. He has been trained to take interview, and he has taken thousands and thousands of interviews before you. So the moment you speak anything which is untrue, it is likely to go against you. So kindly be truthful, and whatever is you have filled into your PIQ is flowing out of it. So remember what you have filled in, and then whatever he is asking from you, it should be truth. And that is what is the best way to tackle any interview anywhere. After the family questions, there may be some questions on your friends. How many friends you had in the school? How many friends you had in your the late school, 11th and 12th? Are you still in touch with them? How many friends you had in your college? Are you touch with all of them, or few are now out of touch, and things of that nature? How are your relations with your friends? How do you mix up with the opposite sex friends comfortably, or there is a slight amount of discomfort? So when he is asking all those questions, there are inputs what is deriving from you. So if your school was a co-educated school, then there is no problem. If it was only a boys' school, again there is no problem. As long as you have been able to mix up comfortably with the girls of your school, oblique the girls of outside your school, that's okay. If you have not been able to mix up with them, if there was no opportunity, that also is okay. But then it has to be, you have to be true to him. Sir, since my school was totally boys' school, so I had little less exposure with the girls. That's fine, there's no harm done. So there may be sufficient number of questions with your on your friendships and all that. So tackle them properly. Then there could be some questions on your hobbies. So let's know what is hobby. How do you define hobby? Then if you have been able to define hobby, if you don't know, then kindly go through it. And if you have been able to define hobby, then you should know what are your hobbies. There will be sufficient number of questions on your hobbies. So kindly tackle them properly. all questions which will flow out from your hobbies will be will reflect your personality. So if you didn't have any hobby, it's okay to say, sir, I didn't have any hobby. But if you had a hobby, so that should be spelt out. Okay, this is my hobby and this is how I did. The next question could be on your games and sports. So what games you played in your school, what games you played during your college, what your games you are playing in the university, at what level you played the game, was it only at the school level or was it at the university level, or did you represent a state or something of that nature. So the level of games and sports, what you represented should be spelt out. There will be sufficient number of questions on games and sports, some details games and sports. So if you have played a game, you will be able to tackle those questions. In case you have not played a game, kindly don't mention it, because somebody your neighbor filling the PIQ form has filled in 5 games, and since you did not play, you also filled in 5 games. So don't fill in any game, any name if you have not played. And if you have played, by all means you must fill in. And that's how and that's a sufficient number of questions will flow out from the games and sports. So that is what I wanted to reiterate here, that mention only those games and sports which you have played. Then there will be questions on co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities. So I am sure there is the difference between co-curricular and extracurricular activity is clear in all of you. In case not, again I will request you to go through it and then find out the difference between what is co-curricular activity and what is extracurricular activity. Mention only those activities which you have been involved with. Kindly do not write any activity which you are not involved with. And if you write any activity, then be prepared that there will be enough questions on these activities. And if you have been involved, I am sure you will be able to tackle questions. If you have not been involved and yet you have written, then there are chances that you may not be able to tackle those questions. So kindly mention only those activities of co-curricular and extracurricular in which you were there. Then there may be few questions on your organizing ability. So again, if you have been involved in organizing events, tournaments, games, sports in your school, in your college, you will be able to answer those questions. In case not, then probably you can go and organize something now to get a feel of it, how a event is organized. And if you have not been a member of organizing committee or organizing team, it is good to say, sir, I was not involved in any of these activities. So because if you write I was involved, then he will ask you sufficient number of questions and I am sure you will not be able to answer them. So there is no requirement of writing something which you cannot answer. Then in the end, there may be few questions on current affairs, to segregate between the person who is doing well and the person who is doing too well. And then there will be some very abstract question which you may be able to answer, you may not be able to answer. These questions of current affair, these questions of abstract nature, of its miscellaneous nature, are to understand and make the interviewing officer make up his mind about your personality and about your awareness, whether you keep yourself abreast with the latest situations in the world, latest situations of India, latest situations happening all around, and so that he is doubly sure that you are the candidate who he must pick up. So be prepared and be thoroughly read to answer such questions. And like I say, there is no substitute to knowledge base, there is no substitute to hard work, there is no substitute to your logical thought process. So you have to read, you have to be logical, you have to know the things in India, you have to know the things of the world, you have to know some abstract things, some things of general nature, so that you can answer those questions what he is asking. And these are the questions which will assist him in making up his mind about you. So this is what is important. So gentlemen, this was all about your interview and the technique. And if you are able to handle these questions and handle them well, I am sure you will fare well in any interview, not only in the SSB, even outside SSB. Thank you so much. Take care.